Let's just make sure, though, with the aid of Ribka, that there wasn't anything even stronger here. So basically, what Kotov doesn't mention in passing is, although the master had considered various candidate moves, bishop takes rook pawn, knight takes knight, knight to knight 4, and knight takes, and with the idea of knight to take h6. What hadn't been considered, though, is, what if we looked at this position in another way to try and arrive actually at what Ribka considers is the totally crushing move, not mentioned by Kotov. And you would think, because it's the first position in his book, that he might think, that this could be a strategic trump card to sort of play on, to find resources that support that trump card. And a natural resource which seems to support that strategic trump card in this position, let's bypass the maze of analysis, would be knight takes f7. Okay, it's easy to try and confirm what Ribka thinks is crushing. So knight f7, but it's obvious here, though, that queen f7 is out of the question, because the bishop takes e6, skewering the black queen to the king. So king takes. Why does Ribka think this is crushing? Because bishop takes e6 again, and if king f8, I think black position, it starts to get dismantled after rook takes g6. So where is the queen going? So it goes to e7, queen f5, it's a mate in 5, king e8, bishop f7, king f8, bishop c4 check, king e8, rook takes e7, king takes, queen f7. So this does seem to be quite drastically stronger than anything which Kotov has mentioned here. And that's no accident, because candidate move theory is ideally suited to computers. It's not a human thing. Computers can crunch through millions of positions a second. They can look at candidate moves systematically. So knight takes f7 can be looked at and not immediately rejected. It can be looked at in depth. What on earth is black doing here? Say bishop takes g3. So the weakness of the last move was to leave that rook hanging. Now there's a real shredding move, which maybe Kotov had underestimated, because if white is forced to recapture the bishop, then black is easily defending his position with a lovely intermediate move here. Not king takes, allowing rook e6, but guarding e6 from this dangerous bishop by the crushing move, well, not crushing, the equalising move, rook d5. And it's starting to be very unclear now if white has any advantage. So, for example, bishop takes d5, bishop takes, and black's looking solid. Knight e5, knight takes, d takes, queen f7, and black could probably hold this. But the thing is, there's a really, really crushing move here, which you would think if Kotov's system was really wonderful for human beings, why didn't he mention this completely crushing continuation here? That instead of either fg or hg, well, fg is out of the question as the queen takes d4 check, and black's loads better, because after bishop e3, queen e4, and black's threatening mate. But here, can you spot a killer move? So we're talking about a continuation not even at all mentioned by Kotov. This knight takes f7. So a non-mentioned continuation. Bishop takes g3. What do you think Kotov hasn't mentioned here that white has? I'll give you 5 seconds starting from now. Okay, according to Ribka, knight takes h6. It is a forcing check move. So let's have a look now. Why is knight takes h6 so crushing? If g takes, then would you say bishop takes e6 or rook takes e6? Note, though, if I'll give you 5 seconds to think about that. rook takes e6 or bishop takes e6, starting from now. Okay, if you had said rook takes e6, give yourself minus 20 points. You've just left yourself open to a mate in 2 with queen f2 and either bishop g2 or queen g2 mate. So bishop takes e6 is the only way to continue this, because it's with check. And where does the black king go? So there's different places for it to go, but if it goes to either g7, h7 or h6, there's another check to look forward to with queen takes. In fact, anywhere the king goes, there's another check to look forward to. So here, what would be the strongest move? To take on h6 with the queen or the bishop to have another check? Or even simply, would you consider now taking on g3? In fact, there's 4 moves given by Rybka, all with a massive advantage to white. The clearest is bishop takes h6 apparently. So after king e7, bishop takes c8, discovered check from the rook. King f7, check again. So we've got a seesaw mechanism going on here. Check, picking up the knight, I think. But actually white casually taking now on g3 after all that. Or even the stronger move now on depth 8, bishop g5. So that's really crushing. So what's going on here, you might ask? It's another complex position in its own right. So black has, say bishop f2. Now anything like king f1 will do. Say queen takes f5, queen h7 is a mate. Next move with bishop h6 mate. So this is all crushing. So basically white missed this devastating continuation, knight takes f7, which has unleashed this resource, a very powerful resource of bishop takes h6 check. All it needed was that after bishop takes g3 was to consider another lethal checking move, knight takes h6, which gives time now for this diagonal, for that bishop takes e6 to be a powerful check. So I don't know what we can consider here. In this particular example, it seems Kotov himself had missed by far the strongest continuation of knight takes f7. And in terms of strategic trump cards, it is, opening up this strategic trump card. So my question to you is, are you convinced by Kotov's maze of variations here? Or could you have just intuitively looked at the position and thought, I just want to liberate this bishop on this diagonal and get at black's king. So knight takes f7 does seem to be a logical attacking move. And if Kotov has got this position wrong, where there are lots of forcing sequences, then who's to say that in other positions you can't just simply look to maximise your strategic trump cards? So look at like this bishop in particular and say, what resources would support maximising that strategic trump card. So knight takes f7, but it's probably initially rejected because someone had missed this very powerful move here of knight takes h6 check. It really doesn't give black much chance.